Whilst talking with my husband yesterday, we started delving into his childhood memories and we came up with a couple of really fun stories. Claudio recalled a time when he was about 15 years old, when he and his friends were always looking for new and exciting things to do. And this particular day they were out and about, riding in town on their scooters, when all of a sudden he had to squeeze in between a wall and a lady who was crossing the road in front of him. He remembers hearing the woman excitedly screeching behind him as he rode on. And he looked around to see what was happening, obviously. And there she was, waving her arms in the air in the middle of the road. Wondering why, obviously, he looked down at the road ahead and he was going to hurry on. And there was a handbag hanging off one of his handlebars. He had a special set of those taller curved ones that were really with it in those days. And obviously he'd manoeuvred to avoid the lady, and one of the handles had caught her handbag strap. And he'd unknowingly ridden off with it. And there he was with the handbag swinging by the side of him and a crazy lady shouting, "Stop, thief!" Instead of stopping to apologise, he said he made the quick decision, obviously, to throw the bag off his scooter onto the pavement and accelerated away into the distance to get away from all the people that were gathering around the woman and shouting angrily at him behind. You can imagine the thoughts that must have been going through his little head. He was young, scared, but probably full of adrenaline with the excitement of it all. Checking in with his feelings, thoughts and actions at the time, what personal values do you think came up from this story? What comes up for me was honesty, to begin with, because he threw the bag on the floor as soon as he realised what had happened. He made a choice. He chose to do what he did. And doing that, also, he decided to make a quick run for it. He doesn't actually remember, but he says that they all laughed afterwards. So they enjoyed the fun of the situation, of course. And there was collaboration as all his friends rode off with him. Friendship, understanding, consciousness, mindfulness. Let me know in the comments what you think. And let's look at the second story, another one. The second story that came to mind was when he ran away from home. In 1945, just at the end of the Second World War, when Claudio was 9 years old, his grandpa gave him a present. He gave him some money, a banknote. And there Claudio was, looking around his family home, wondering where to keep it safe, where to put it. And he reached up to a place on the glass cabinet in the living room. As he put his foot on the bottom shelf to reach up high to the top, climbing up he was, the whole piece of furniture started shaking and falling down on top of him towards him, crashing noisily onto a table in front of it. But he'd instinctively jumped sideways to avoid the glass, thank goodness. He remembers that he was so scared of the consequences, about what his parents would say, that he ran out of the door and away as quickly as his little legs could carry him, snatching his coat off the hook with the foresight that he might not come back so quickly. He found himself taking the direction towards the cable car station, below where his father worked at the nearby military base. He was an officer in the security department, where the American soldiers were taking over the base from the Germans as the war was just over. He hadn't any money to buy a ticket for the cable car, so he held on tight behind and jumped off when it arrived at the summit. Deciding not to go straight to see his father, he was still scared, he hung around near to the base and he lay his coat on the open ground, expecting to spend the night there, outdoors on the grass. And then he spotted a goat man coming towards him with all his herd of goats, and he was worried about him asking questions, so he quickly picked up his coat and walked back to the tram station. He went back down to the town of Trieste in the same way. It was in northern Italy. And slowly he found himself being drawn back home, fearful of a good spanking, but cold and hungry by now. And he remembers that his family was so happy to see him that he escaped any punishment after all, and he was welcomed by his mother with open arms. How about that story? What values show up from this one? Courage, perhaps? Family, of course, gratitude, thankfulness, forgiveness, wisdom. Our childhood memories often reveal what's truly important to us and can show us how we understand ourselves better, how we can make more positive choices and be more successful in life. When you look back at your own fun childhood memories, what do you think they can teach you about yourself and what you value in life? If you want to go on your own personal discovery journey to uncover what your personal core values and personal strengths are, to understand who you truly are and why you behave and react as you do in certain situations, and so much more, I invite you today to book a one-to-one discovery call with me to find out what your self-realization process would entail and how discovering your own unique truth through delving into your top high and your top low experiences in your younger years can be a complete game changer. I'd love to connect with you. Simply click the link above or below this video to check my calendar availability. It's your choice. And don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want more notifications of my weekly video shares. Thank you for watching. Yours in truth.